Yes, everyone, welcome to So You Do Comedy Podcast with me, Jack Miller.
And me, Matt Jones.
How you been, man?
Yeah, good. First things first, we've got a sign.
You've got a sign.
We've got a sign, a So You Do Comedy sign, which suggests we're
making it. We're on.
This is it.
We turned the corner. When you've got a sign in a posh studio like this, which, it just shows how much you're making it in the world.
And Jacob, this is a lovely new studio that
premises,
we highly recommend to anyone else who's going to be involved in podcasts.
I no longer feel like I'm sitting on your knee, which is always good.
Yeah, well, we've both synced up the knee cross correctly, haven't we?
Yeah, if at any point during the day that we go like that and cross exact same time, the podcast's over.
I'm just copying you.
Fuck off. Sound. When we done the last gig was last Friday, wasn't it? And we done a live podcast on Wednesday.
Yeah, and we'll have to tell them quickly. And we'll tell you the subject of what we're doing today. But last Friday was mental, wasn't it?
Very weird, yeah, very weird. Someone identified as a cat in the audience, which we'll go into with one of our guests later. And I've never seen anyone identify as a cat before. It was
at the base of Snowdon, and there was a guy that looked like he was from Street Fighter outside. He was just the biggest man I've ever seen.
Looked like a bag of walnuts, didn't he?
Yeah,
just massive.
And he liked me because his surname was Jones, and that was our general connection.
Was that the way you stopped him filling you in? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, he just stood next to me for the whole time.
And then it's just weird, wasn't it? But should we go into a bit that with you that?
Yeah, we'll wait for that because it is funny.
Yeah.
And what else have we been doing? We've set up our new little project, haven't we?
Yeah. So, basically, all like the comedy promotions in Liverpool, we're going to try and get them to battle each other out and have a little bit of a joke off with each other. So, Comedy Killer, as it's going to be called, is the first ones in Shenanigans on Tide Barn Street on the 31st of August.
27th of August, maybe.
Anyway, the last Wednesday. One of them, we'll
whatever
post
the last Wednesday is.
And
first domestic, though.
Well, after what you'd only said the other day, Jacob,
this is true.
This is like, he goes, we're on the Mile High live show the other week on Wednesday. And I go on first, do the little bits, and then come off. And he comes on and goes, I'm the other half of Jack Miller.
I meant to say...
Nothing else. Didn't say nothing else. I was like, that's going to be the clip, isn't it? That's going to be the clip that goes online. My missus is like, you've got something to tell me.
Because Dean said, here's the other half of So You Do Comedy. And I just went on and went, yeah, I'm the other half of Jack Miller. And so his wife's fuming, like...
Best get used to sitting on couches. Are we going to introduce our first guest, or do you want to go into it?
Yeah, so today we have 4 ladies on. We've got Melina Fial.
Hello.
Have I said that right?
That's correct.
Oh,
should we give it a round of applause?
Yeah.
Melina Fial, everyone.
And we've got Claire Berry. Woo!
We're here now, we've committed.
And then we've got our crazy Welsh duo who aren't quite here yet, Lloyd and Williams, who are a double act from North Wales, who seem to have taken us on as their surrogate sons on the Welsh comedy circuit.
Yeah, so I've got a new pair of mums, and I've got a new missus as well, which is you.
Yeah. So we're all good to go. So let's introduce Melina and say hello.
Hello,
Melina. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm very comfortable. I'm enjoying the settee, as they say.
The settee.
How are we? How are we both?
Good.
Yeah.
Do you like the sign?
I'm enjoying the sign.
Melina's partied her voice into obliteration, by the way.
Oh yes.
That's why she sounds like
yes.
Dua Lipa.
Like Dua Lipa. It's brilliant. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a much sexier version of my real voice.
You should do them £1.50 a minute chat lines.
You know what? I could. It'll be a very small window of profit, and I feel like I'd have to drink the money away, but we could make it work.
Well, that could just fuel your next vocal breakdown, couldn't it?
Exactly.
Vicious cycle, that though.
Yeah.
So have you been? When was your last gig? What have you been up to?
Oh, my last gig was a couple of weeks ago. No, it wasn't. My last gig was a few days ago. I played the Hot Water Sunday. It was a dropout and I jumped on.
How'd it go?
You. You know what? I was very hungover. There's a pattern here, but it's only this weekend. I was very hungover and I was kind of mentally checked out and I haven't watched it back yet. So it could have gone really well. It could have gone terribly. I just wanted to get through the hangover and home. And we'll see.
And did you do 10 minutes on the Sunday?
10 minutes, yeah, 10 minutes on a Sunday.
And there's a lot more prestige to doing a free night on a Sunday in Hot Water than there is sort of anywhere else, isn't there? We all class that as the holy grail of
a new act night.
Yeah.
I can get one if I paid.
There you go. Hot Water, give him a Sunday.
So how was your voice on when you done the...
You know what? It was okay. It wasn't too bad. I think I did my voice in because I went to a concert on Monday. I went to see Carly Rae Jepsen. I did this going to see Carly Rae Jepsen. I don't know what the more embarrassing option is. Can you believe it?
So not even anyone good, really?
I know, just me screaming.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What did he sing? What did he sing?
Well, like, Call Me Maybe. Hey, I just met you.
Oh, she's done
this
it.
This is crazy. It's gone.
I led it in and she done it.
Before you came into my life.
How is that
so bad.
Yeah. That's Melina's like shower song and
that. Yeah, I had a great time.
Have you been on any other podcasts?
I used to be on a podcast called Clueless. Shout out to Ben. But I don't do that anymore. So this is a nice return to home. But you know, this is my first time as a guest on a podcast. So thank you very much.
So what happened? Why can't we not on anymore?
And it was a bit mad with Ben, wasn't it? Who else was on it?
As if I wasn't going to ask that.
I quit the pod to save the friendship. No, I'm just a very busy person without sounding like a twat.
You're a very what?
Busy person.
Yeah.
So without sounding like a twat, I gig so much and stuff. And I go around the country a bit more than the others. So I need my Saturdays. And I live so far away from my family. So we were filming every Saturday and it just didn't give me any time.
Where do they live?
Well, Ben currently lives in... I guess like Liverpool, Manchester.
Your family's from Manchester?
Oh, my family. Where my family live. They're from Leicester.
Oh, Leicester.
Yeah, right in the middle of the country. 2 train rides away.
Ah, right.
Yeah, so I just need those 2 days at the weekend, you know? Can't be going to Chester.
Jake, you know when she starts talking about like gigging all the time, can you just put some slow, sad violin music in?
World's tiniest violin, I know. I just keep getting booked, guys. Oh my God, it's just so hard being burnt out.
Is this a Leicester accent then, or is this a generic?
Not really. I think it's like a CBBC accent because in Leicester, they kind of talk like Leicester. All right, you all right, Emily? But
what have you just said?
You all right, Emily? Are you all right, Emily?
Why are they calling you Emily?
Yeah, Jacob's not. Yes, that's it. Nottingham accent.
Yeah. Okay.
But I wasn't allowed to play outside with the other kids growing up. So
Why not?
Because my mother was very overprotective.
Right.
So we watched a lot of CBBC growing up. So I ended up sounding like this. Yeah.
So they were your best mates on CBBC?
Well, I have sisters too. But what are you saying that the TV characters are my best mates? Yeah, I guess so. That's the kind of person that ends up becoming a comedian, Matt.
And you had 2 sisters?
Got 2 sisters, yeah.
And are they younger brother?
Got a twin and an older sister.
Oh, younger brother.
You're a twin?
Yeah, I'm a twin. Yeah, we're not identical though.
So you might actually not be Melina.
I know. She doesn't look like me, but you never know. You know
she's
what
not
I mean?
an identical twin.
She got the looks, I got the personality.
Ah, right.
Yeah, I know. You can't argue with that. Yeah. You can't argue with that.
I'm meant to say something there to make her feel better.
Actually,
so you said you get booked a lot.
yeah, relatively.
Okay. How many gigs how'd you find? Because obviously today's sort of guests and stuff is all about the female comedians coming in and so how do you find it? Because obviously, like I'm on a gig tonight and it's 4 lads and 3 of us are from Liverpool and one's Anthony Grogan. So obviously it's 4 males, sorry, all on a lineup. Do you find that as an issue? Is it difficult for you? Do you feel like
it's a lot? That's what I'll say. It's a lot. So, for example, women can progress quicker if you're good because people want female acts, right?
Yeah.
But the circuit is so much harder as a woman. It's so difficult and there's so much shit that you have to put up with, like the sexual harassment, the being treated differently. There are people in the audiences who don't want to find women funny. I get a bit more online hate than my male counterparts, for example. So a lot of women might quit, for example, or they might not see it as something they want to do. So there's this whole argument that there's not enough female comics out there, so they don't get booked, which I think is true. There aren't many female comics at a good enough level to be on certain pro lineups. True. However, I think there needs to be more work done like from the ground up to make it easier for women, like open mic nights, new act nights and stuff like that, to make women feel like it's a space they can be in. Because I was gigging in London recently. And there they aim for a 50% female lineup, whereas somewhere like this, up north, Liverpool, Manchester less so, but they often aim for one woman on the lineup.
Yeah.
So, well,
excuse me.
like, don't you worry about it.
Dying.
I know,
You're
right?
really choking them up there.
I know, it really got to you. It was so hard. This hobby that I chose to do, I just find so difficult. But I found that, yes, it can be easier for a good female act to get gigs, but getting gigs isn't necessarily the sign of being a good comic. Like, my mental health has been up and down and all over the place since starting comedy. And that could result in burnout, you know, for example, or there's a lot of pressure for stage time. And because if I get offered more stage time, I'll take it all, then I'll burn out, be worse, have to cancel gigs. And I had to cancel like 2 gigs last week because I've been so burnt out, which sounds like a really arrogant thing to say, but I don't think there's this weird equation that more stage time equals doing better, or more stage time means you'll get better. Not necessarily, because like I did 6 gigs in 1 week and I had on top of my job.
My God.
And that's just workaholism, you know, and that's not necessarily a gendered issue necessarily, but I think that maybe because it's easier, maybe for a strong, in quotation marks, audio listeners, for a strong new female act to get more gigs doesn't necessarily mean that I'm doing better or I'm going to go further, because you could run yourself into an early grave. I found more grey hairs. I've been growing grey since I was 16 very slowly. It's increased, you know, and it's very...
I mean, you haven't got a fucking argument really, have you? Look at Matt.
No, exactly. But you're not fully grey yet, you know?
No, this is all right.
He's 15.
Yeah.
You're 15.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 23, but
Yeah.
don't worry.
23.
No,
Oh,
I'm
no,
not.
it's
I'm
fine.
not 23. I'm double fit 23.
I'd like to thank you for Melina, because I think that's the fucking most serious answer we've
That-
ever had.
Yes,
that
I'm
was
just being
fantastic.
sincere.
It was our only
Yeah, I
second
don't know what I was
session, but
going to
that was
say.
like...
And what,
Yeah.
you know, off the back of you're saying about the females,
Yes.
50-50 in London, we could potentially do that here, but men do outweigh women on the circuit. But, you know, when you get the new acts in, the 18 to 25-year-olds, and like Claire is a big advocate supporting new acts and getting them on, and when the Femme de la Femme night, which you were bouncer for. And,
Oh yes, I was on the door with the raffle. Yeah, that's the thing. Things like Femme, I always say, it's things like Femme de la Femme, and having that safe space that women feel like they can start at, and they can get better and grow in spaces where they feel comfortable. Then they can just kind of like go in as a stronger act and get booked, rather than like have to go into the open mic nights and quit before they get good. So I think I have to use my kind of like, I always argue I'm a better networker than I'm a comedian, which is true. I don't know, one's more important than the other. I don't know which one's more important. But I want to use not to be arrogant, because I'm still very new, but hopefully I can use my confidence and networking skills to help make other women feel like they can go to these spaces.
How new are you?
Well, I only started in November, so I'm very new. Yeah.
Right, because I've seen you around that much.
Just have the aura of arrogance, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just make it seem like I've been in this much longer than I have. Yeah.
On the Femme de la Femme night, Claire got on a girl called Ellie Sousa.
Yes, it's her
and
first gig.
It was her first gig, and she probably disproportionately thinks comedy
gonna be like
gigs
this.
are all just amazing, because so far she's done the Femme de la Femme night, and like everyone just commented on how confident, brilliant she was, funny.
Exactly.
Done shenanigans as well, hasn't she?
She's done shenanigans, which obviously is a brilliant night. and the Lloyd and Williams, they're not here yet, are they? I can just see a pair of legs. That could have been...
That's definitely not them.
The legs of Lloyd.
The legs of Lloyd.
She's been on the real night, and I emceed that one. And again, she was in front of 70 people. Yeah. And it's just brilliant introduction into comedy for
exactly.
her.
And if you feel like you know how good it can be at the start, then you kind of like push yourself through and feel like you can, right? And so, do you know what I mean? I'm not in, and so if I want to get a boyfriend, I go on Tinder or something, or even like Hinge, whatever people do these days. Yeah. But like you do stand up because you're missing something clearly, right? And so the kind of
started to question everything. Right? Why am I doing this shit?
Sorry, guys.
This is meant to be comedy.
Right? Sorry. I know, it's meant to be a fun podcast.
We're all sinking down going, what the fuck's up with me?
You should have asked me about being cancelled instead.
So you do philosophy.
But basically I have my own confidence issues, and when all these men are giving you attention because you're the only woman in a room of 20 confuses me. Do you know what I mean? Because like, I'm so great. Oh my God, I'm so hot. And then 1 second, oh no, I'm the only woman. And then your ego gets confused, and then you start giving them the attention they want, and then they think you're interested, and then they take it too far, and then they don't leave you alone. And a lot of the time, it's not things that aren't illegal, but it's things that make you uncomfortable, but it's not stuff you can report. That's that middle ground is really, that's the bit that makes me uncomfortable. It's what makes a lot of female comics uncomfortable. And I think it's something that needs to work on, that we need to work on from the ground up. I'm not talking about pro nights where there's like 4 white men and 1 woman, right? That will happen if we start. I think if you start from the ground up, if you start from the open mic nights and make a safer space for women, make them feel like they can come, then they'll progress and get better, and they'll have to get booked because they're so funny. But I think that there's just so much kind of like work to be done in the circuit, and there are things in place by different, like charities and organisations to help. But it's really tricky when at the end of the day, doing stand-up is your choice. You can always quit, and what happens is women quit and they don't get to the point where they can be good. But yeah, I'm just kind of like rambling on anyway about,
it's brilliant
what it's like to be a
rambling,
woman. It's just, it's a whole kind
you
of
meant to say it's not rambling. No, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Not it's brilliant rambling.
So the next podcast is going to be free then.
No,
it's not easy, but I think that people
like
want different perspectives.
It's like a psychiatrics.
I think for us, because obviously we're not in your shoes, I think it's difficult for us to like sort of say,
yeah,
because you might hear or see different things or whatever, but I think it's, unless you're in that point of view of it, it's hard to fully understand or grasp what's going on. So I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing all this, is to try and say, like, especially, I know any nights that you've done on Shenanigans, our nights that we're putting on, Claire's night especially, which is, couldn't help women anymore, really. I think if you're going to start off at, you want to start comedy, even though obviously some of the shit that you've seen, I don't want it to be sort of putting it off, because we do want more women involved. Yeah. And especially the nights. So obviously if it's a Shenanigans night or Claire's night or anything like that, obviously you've seen and experienced all that shit. But at the same time, I think that as lockdowns are over and there's more nights putting on, there's more people who wouldn't have that happen. Because if I seen anything like that a night, they'd just be thrown out straight away.
Yeah.
And do you know the safer nights? Because the Shenanigans one is literally just an open mic.
You don't really want to say there are safer nights or not, because there might be, I might say, this night is safe, you go girl, and then one creep is there and grabs an ass. And you don't want to say there's a safe person, because anyone could be dodgy. Like, that's the thing, you can't really, it's like saying, oh, it's safe to walk down the street alone at night. Yeah. So I think I don't think it's a case of safe nights and not safe nights, because there are some clubs I've been to, it's always been great, and then one bad egg happens to be there. Like, it's the people, it's the individuals rather than necessarily the whole. But I think that there's a lack of anyone doing anything about these individuals and thinking and like seeing them as isolated incidents, which they are in a sense. But I think that there isn't much of a kind of like overarching kind of like, oh, this isn't going to happen. Because at the end of the day, it's things that aren't necessarily illegal. I don't know where to draw the line. And at the end of the day, a room of 20 men, like in an open mic or even a 6-act thing, and you're the only woman, you are going to be looked at a certain way. But if someone's just looking at you a certain way, it doesn't necessarily mean they didn't do anything. Yeah. Still makes you uncomfortable. But I think that I found that with booked gigs, I'm always a lot more comfortable than an open mic night. But I think that, so I don't think it's necessarily a case of that, but I think it's just about being, I don't think it should put people off comedy at all, but I think there's just, you have to be cautious about it going in. Like one of the many, because I moved to Liverpool 6 years ago and I wanted to start comedy then, but there's so many reasons that I didn't start then. Like I didn't feel ready, that kind of thing. But another one was because of like being a woman, right? And the Me Too movement genuinely helped me kind of feel a bit more ready. Yeah. It's still not perfect, but I feel like it's getting to a better place, but you just have to be aware that it's not going to be like all sunshine and rainbows. If you are a woman, you just have to have a bit more of a guard up and like knowing like when to go home after a gig, which is stupid, but it's terrible you have to say that. No. So it's a tricky kind of balance between the two things. And I don't know what the answer is, but I just want more conversations like this. I think we just have more conversations between each other because it's not necessarily I guess you are promoters now, but like on like a comics level.
We're having a goal, like we're making it up as we go along. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. We've got a sign.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a sign and a venue with a mic.
But yeah, so that's how it is being a woman. That's a small little sub tip of the iceberg, little small section of what it's like to be a woman in comedy. But it might be like I'm quite young as well, and I look quite young, and I'm Asian. And you know what men are like.
That is part of your set as well, though, isn't it?
You're doing bits now.
I know. I just talk to people like I'm doing bits. That's why I'm a stand-up. Honestly, it's the other way around. It's the wrong way around. But a comic who might be married and older than me, for example, might have a different experience or a very similar experience. Who knows? Yeah, so that's what it's like. What's it like being a white man in comedy? Are there enough podcasts talking about this stuff? Do we need these conversations?
Well, Matt keeps grabbing my ass, so
Does it?
One of the reasons
It doesn't count as harassment if it's consensual.
it's usually
there we go.
It's the jazz music that's playing on the way in. It's got you in the mood.
Well, one of the reasons I started comedy was because I always remember apart from the fact I was always funny throughout my whole life. And
What happened? Too easy, that one.
Stop flirting.
yeah. I was always rubbish. You know, when the teacher said in school, read out loud in class, and I was doing a school play, or if there was anything, I'd always hide at the back. I wouldn't say anything. And my mum calls me an introverted extrovert. So I've got that extroverted way about me. But I think the comedy helps you present work-wise and do everything on that side of things. You completely foiled me today, because I'm meant to be in a guise of an absolute dick on this podcast, and Jack's meant to be the sensible one. But the content that you put forward there, you can't be a dickhead listening to that. It's not,
it's not funny, because the whole topic isn't funny at all.
No, not
None
at
of
all.
that shit should be happening. So I'm glad you've come on and said that type of stuff. I feel like we're on this morning.
It does, yeah.
And you form bonds with the other women and men on the scene that you...
My first gig, Melina, look after me in the green room. My very first gig.
I'm always in the...
Where was that? In
Hot Water. So I done my very first 5 minutes on a Monday night, and Melina was like coaching me through the mental breakdown I was having.
Oh, absolutely.
beforehand.
And you did brilliantly, though. I bombed as well. I had an on-stage. The irony is I always act really cocky before a gig and then get nervous just before. I was in my cocky mood, right? And then the irony was that you did amazing on your first gig. I bombed, had an on-stage freak out. I had 2 of those in my career, which is quite funny, but you did amazing. Because I think in the green room as well, in Hot Water, whenever I'm there, if I see a new act, I will grab you and I will tell you where to go next.
I wouldn't start that sentence with grab you.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't grab you. I'd metaphorically grab you.
Jack?
Yeah, I'm fine. No, I think...
I remember the first gig. You were really good.
No, I think it's good that you've come on and sort of highlighted this, but at the same time, for me, in my head, there's a difference between like doing a comedy course and doing certain open mics and a comedy circuit. Yeah. And being involved in the scene, if you like. And I think what one tends to lead into another, but I think sometimes, when you get around certain people or whatever, I think that's where, and people see you more regularly as well. Yeah. I think that's where people maybe take things too far, but no, I think we can. I think that's a really important thing that we've highlighted there, isn't it?
There's been a eye-opener, and I'm going to go away thinking, why am I doing
tonight?
comedy?
I'm going to sit there and go,
oh no,
I can't. I can't say anything to you now because I'm not in the mood to.
We're just getting off, yeah.
Just to speak Joanne's marathon story, which was funny, guys. Yeah. But no, that's the thing. At the end of the day, comedy is fun, and I feel I don't want male comics to feel like they can't even talk to women. That's ridiculous. Like, you'll know deep down if you're being a creep. Do you know what I mean? It's like that level of like, do I want to get to know this person before I kind of like, do you know what I mean? Or rather than am I just out there to get as much like vagina as possible?
Who's your favourite comic?
I didn't expect her to say that.
What, on the circuit or in general?
Oh, go on, let's go for the circuit.
Oh, I couldn't say actually.
Oh, God, well, name someone
I'm just going to say Ben and Faizan.
Oh, okay.
And then probably you guys, of course. But
but they fucked it off.
No, I fucked them off. I want to be clear that I fucked them off for the record. But yeah, in general, I know I joke that I look like him because I do look like him, but I grew up really liking Michael McIntyre. So because he's quite high energy.
Yeah, he's a bit pacey, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm quite pacey as well because I've got so much nervous energy, and you don't get a lot of that. Like, I struggle in smaller rooms. It sounds like I'm being arrogant. I O2 arena only. No, I struggle in smaller rooms because I have to run around. Yeah, because I can't quite do the jokes I want to do. Like, if I want to lie in the ground to do a joke, why do I get sexually harassed? I don't know. If I want to lie in the ground to do a joke, I can't do that even at like Hot Water where the audience is like above you because the people behind can't see. Yeah, I can't do that in a pub. But there's a La Fayenda in Manchester. They have a very big stage. I can do I think that was my best ever gig because I could literally run from one end of the stage to the other and like do the whole shebang.
Well, we've got 1 minute left.
Yes. Ooh.
And we're just going to mention that you are on our gig.
Yes.
And it's going to be in the Denby Castle on Wednesday at 7:30. It's £10 on the door. you can see Melina, and she's not going to be as serious as she will be.
They're talking about similar things, but funny.
Yeah,
It's a similar, yeah.
That's not a set, by
That's
the way.
not it,
What she
yeah.
just went.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, we've got Jack on, I'm MC, and who else have we got on?
Gary Hyland, Charlie Lewis,
Yeah,
Alex A.K. Sandy, and Michael Carter.
and one of the new girls.
Kim Smith. I
Kim
don't know if you know
Smith.
Kim Smith.
Ooh, no.
So she's Charlie Lewis recommended because we said, like, listen, we want someone brand new. So she's going to be coming all the way down from Manchester with 2 of her mates, and she's doing 5 minutes on the night as well.
That is exciting. I'm really looking forward to the gig. Does this go out before the gig?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Hopefully we
Get
can.
your ass into gear,
we can
Jacob.
nip it
It's going to
out.
be
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this one. It's going to be a really fun night, and it's in town, which is good. And it's a very good lineup. So I can't wait, guys. Thank
I
you
go
for
on
having me.
holiday the
Brilliant.
next day.
Really? Woo.
Well-
How exciting.
Can we say big thank you for coming on?
Thank you.
Big round of applause
Melina
to
Shaw.
Melina. Woo! Right, should we get our next act on?
Claire?
Claire
Tag
Berry.
team.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello.
This is
So that was
Been hit by an emotional bus.
yeah. That was yeah, me and Jack are like wow.
I think all the women on the circuit are very aware of all that.
Yeah.
Like I've heard so many stories.
First of all, how are you, Claire?
I'm okay. I'm good.
Good. And do you like this new studio of
I
Jacob's?
just love the sofa.
It is, isn't it?
I want
Where's-
to
where's
take
it from?
home.
Some random website. Sorry.
Love the colour.
He's not sold it very well.
No.
It's just a
Not on commission then, mate. No. Sound. Go in my living room, it'll look exactly the same as this. Even with the So-Used comedy sign and everything.
And for anyone that doesn't know Claire, which probably most people in Liverpool do now because he Femme de la Femme, this
Yeah.
is an amazing new night, which was, where did you have your first one?
Fredericks.
In Fredericks. And I came and did a little video for you, and it's taken off beyond belief. It's all female identifying night, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the first one was just a complete sellout, wasn't it?
That was
You
mental.
couldn't move in there.
No.
I think we should do a round of applause for that.
And yeah,
Stop it.
I nearly cried. I was supposed to be like when I got up to host it. I got quite emotional. I was like, "Fucking hell!"
You
Oh,
must-
God, can I swear? Can I not swear?
no, you can swear.
Oh,
We're
that's
going to get
right.
all of us cancelled now, Claire.
yeah,
Fuck's sake.
yeah.
I'm
No,
so glad I can swear.
it's going out after the watershed, so you're
Cool.
all right on
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah, that YouTube watershed we're all very well aware of. Yeah, so this night, yeah, you obviously had on Lloyd and Williams, and Melina wasn't on, was she? But she was helping you.
She was
she
on
was-
the door.
Yeah, she was my
was
right
like,
hand man.
if you're
Yeah.
not-
And you had
Not coming in. She'll
Ellie suit. And I was just going to ask you, so the motivation, I mean, it fits in perfectly with what Melina was saying, but the motivation behind the night, how you got inspired to do it, the publicity behind it, and just how well you've done. And it's just to really over to you, just to talk about the concept of it and how the women on the circuit have taken it.
Well, I think like it, it's like it's interesting. Like sort of Melina, like as an older woman, it's sort of a slightly different
Yeah.
experience, and kind of there's other older women that I've spoke to who kind of have felt very similar, and there's actually like a kind of like the non-binary women's like North Forum along with the Northwest Forum. There's like 330 members on that, so there's a lot of female comics out there,
Right.
but there's barriers, and I think for older women it's kind of a lot of kind of places are run by like young men.
Yeah.
So you just sort of like, what would you bring to the table? Do you know what I mean? And the safety aspect as well, and I guess kind of it sort of became quite like I've worked in the arts in all sorts of different things. Like I was a workshop facilitator. I was a writer. I used to do a lot of fringe theatre stuff. I did performance poetry, and I've never come across an art form that's so behind in terms of the sort of grassroots, what's happening with the women and the gigs and stuff. And so I was just a bit like, it had been in my mind like for quite a while, and I was just like, just fuck it, just do it. And you know, it's just about wanting like to give that platform.
Yeah.
And to sort of offer, like, my whole sort of concept with it is that I wanted people, you know, sort of strong pro people, but also people sort of trying to just get more of a platform, as well as like brand new people that may not feel like, a bit like what Melina was saying, you know, that may just feel a bit safer trying their material out in a kind of more female vibe.
Yeah. Because that night, it did have a really nice feel to it, and everyone was enjoying it. Everyone was really supportive, clapping along. What was the and what's her name? Nanny Fee at the Nanny Funk at the end. I was just smiling the whole time while I was filming it. Filming it for your video, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just brilliant, wasn't she?
She's absolutely fantastic. And, you know, like, she's got a little bit of a following going on, and I was kind of like really chuffed that she said she'd do a set, because she would never describe herself as like a stand-up, but she's a comedy performer.
Yeah.
So good. And so yeah, and it was just like, you know, I'm a feminist, and like that's a big part of who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm just fucking want to big it up for the women, and I just want to give like that space and that platform, and like for new people, for, you know, yeah, for sort of more pro people, just like there's like a safe space. And
it is, and me and Jack have been big advocates for everything you've done, and the fact that you've now got yourself to are we allowed to say where your next venue is?
Good, yeah.
So you've got yourself to the Empire.
The Everyman.
The Everyman.
Not
so
quite
you
the
hold
Empire.
on, Matt.
Not quite the Empire.
Are we allowed to say it? Yes. I'll say it wrong then.
And you've got yourself to the London Palladium, which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Oh, Jack's gone down. I'm going down. Oh, I'm going up. So where is it? The Everyman.
The Everyman.
The Everyman.
It's not actually, just to be clear, it's not actually the Everyman Theatre Space. It's the Everyman Bistro, but it's an absolutely beautiful performance space.
Have them on board. That was a big deal, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, it was just, to be honest, like, after I did it was such a buzz, and I kind of was really blown away by like just the amount of people there. The atmosphere was just ridiculous, and like,
how many does it hold?
What, the bistro?
Yeah.
I think 110, something like that.
So wait till you get to the Empire.
I know.
But yeah, like, and I, you know, that it was. I've completely, like, yeah, I've lost my thread now.
But it's ironic as well, isn't it? I think I'm going to steal Jack's joke here. You know what I'm going to say?
Everyman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you knew the joke and still said the fucking theatre wrong.
So just so you know, the irony is it's called the Everyman, and we've got an all-female. We have to explain jokes on there.
I think I just took, you know, like, when I just...
Is that a thing, mansplain?
But to himself.
Yeah.
He mansplains to himself and still says it fucking wrong.
We might have some viewers that are going, well, if we've got any viewers, hello.
We did have, yeah.
We did have 403 viewers, haven't we?
Yay, that's awesome.
Yeah, the 3.
I mean, we haven't got anything at the Everyman or the Empire, but, you know, we've got the
Denby Castle.
I've watched it 400 times.
We've got a castle. We've got a gig at a castle.
Yeah. We sent a little bit of a segue, we sent the address out to people, like, you know, come down and all that to Denby Castle, and all they had was people going,
Oh,
why are you putting a
Wales?
fucking gig on in Wales? I was like, the pub in town. Oh, right, that makes
It's just a little pub in town. But
That was my first thought as well.
yeah, and I think people have bought tickets in Wales and they're just going to turn up to the Denby Castle on the 20th of July and be wondering where the gig is. So there's
It's
just
a good job you're not promoting Claire's, you'll end up in the
Yeah.
fucking Empire.
There's one guy that's bought like 12 tickets, and if he is Welsh, there's just going to be a big gang of 12 fellas walking around the castle. But
I'm sure it's on the address is on the ticket, we'll be all right. When did you start comedy, Claire?
I started it in 2019. I did like the life rooms, like comedy, like mental health recovery course.
Okay.
So I did my very first gig at Hot Water.
I did mine at Hot Water very first one.
Look at us.
Yeah, I mean, like I couldn't. It just went amazingly, and literally the moment I got off stage, I said to my mate, "I want to do it again." And
It's
just like,
isn't it? It's like crack. Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Did you do a Sunday at Hot Water straight away,
It was,
did you?
yeah, because at that time it was a bit easier to get
Oh, look
the
at
new
you with your fucking
material.
Sundays.
You can't get them now.
You just
No, you
applied.
fucking really can't,
you just
no.
applied, didn't you? And said, "Oh, can I do a Sunday?"
Just send the message and I
Yeah.
get on.
But
Just
I
turn
did
up and
like.
get on.
Oh God, that was really loud.
Broke the table there.
It's the only gig he can't get.
I think it's really hard to get the Sundays now. I don't know. It seems different than it was then. I don't know what's changed.
I think because it's such a big club now, the list is just stupid.
too long. Yeah.
And then people can turn up and just jump on when they can't they, Melina? So Melina just robs everyone else's space really as well.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, but I didn't know anything about the forums or anything like that at that point. So
Yeah.
I was
Like
kind
the
of,
Northwest Comedy Forum.
yeah,
and,
I didn't know anything. I just remember like seeing like, you know, I went down Lock Lane and I'd noticed this pros and cons, and I just emailed someone and said, "Can I come on? I don't know, how does this work?"
Yeah.
So I didn't do like loads. I did a few gigs and I was starting to just get a little bit into my stride, and then of course, big fat virus, and I thought I probably wasn't going to do it again.
And 2 years of nothing, basically. I
Yeah.
mean, it must have been tough for like, professional comics because they were, and I don't think they actually got any recognition as being artists. You know, they didn't get any funding, did they? Because comedians are sort of down the pecking order.
Self-employed, weren't they? I think most of it, so that's how it worked. But I think some done Zoom gigs, which after doing a certain comedy competition this year, I will never do a Zoom gig ever again.
I've never fancied the idea of a Zoom. I mean, because comedy is a conversation, isn't it? It's a conversation with the audience, and how can you have that?
Like, I've got a
conversation?
huge head, right? So having my head on your laptop isn't going to be a fucking nice thing for anyone. But like, I won't say the name of the comedy competition, but I was
So you do comedy? No, it sounds a bit like that, doesn't it?
And the judge who was doing the thing fell asleep on the Zoom gig.
Yeah,
That's shocking.
He sent me a picture of it.
So I was like,
That's
she's
shocking.
asleep. And she looked like, you know, Edna off Incredibles.
Oh yeah.
She's
I
just
know,
like that on the thing, on the camera, just fast asleep. And I was like, I'm taking a picture of her there. And I didn't get through because I feel like she dreamt my
asleep.
set. Yeah.
And it's such a weird thing because you've got to set it up somewhere. I had my mobile phone on a clothes rack and it was slipping down, and then you're standing in front of everyone, and then there's a delay, isn't there, in laughter. I told a
There's
joke.
always a delay in laughter.
You just stole my joke then. I was going to say there was a 5-minute delay. But yeah.
So when's the next one at the Everyman?
Where everybody's at it now.
You're in my head. Fuck off.
So the publicity is going to go out for the Everyman on the 20th of July.
Yes.
They've kind of like took over doing like the logo and the publicity and all that.
Yeah.
So
you got a sign?
I mean, I will have a sign.
Okay.
I will have, well, maybe not as good as that.
We've just robbed Hot Water's thing,
Yeah.
so apparently. So
you.
I'm definitely not going to get a fucking Sunday now.
it was Jack's idea. He designed this.
Fuck off. Go on. Sorry, Claire.
So the first one is the 22nd of September.
Okay.
And then it'll be like monthly after that, obviously all being well. And they're giving me obviously like a budget to pay for acts. And they're just like, you know, I was so shocked when I emailed them, and they emailed me back the afternoon and said, yeah, let's talk. And I was like, and
Oh
that
my
was your
God.
video.
Thank you.
And yeah, so and then so I mean, obviously it's like early days, and we're like growing it, but they're like gonna be backing it.
They're doing all the
and
bits that you don't
supporting it.
really want to be doing.
Oh, well, they took a lot of the weight off it. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I was a bit like, it took all my energy to really like do that event, and you know, it's like putting on, it's hard work.
Oh God, even
It's hard work.
even a tiny little open mic.
Yeah,
you're
it's
trying to
hard
sort
going.
all the acts, and I didn't realise how much it was. But it is a challenge for you. Would Femme de la Femme take on to use do comedy in the comedy killer competition?
I reckon.
Venue TBC.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I reckon that could work somehow, definitely.
Boys v girls.
No. We're not doing boys v girls. That'll just cause more fucking murder, all right? Claire can have anyone she wants. We can have whoever we want, and then we'll do it, and then we'll try and we're gonna sort it out the first one. Like we're doing against Anthony Daly's One Bomb Comedy is the first one.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna sort of iron the kinks out and stuff like that. And then we're gonna start recording them and do clips and stuff like that. And we'll be able to, the whole point of it is the comedians aren't gonna do well. Because we're not mocked a week. We haven't got writers giving us the jokes.
Yeah.
So we wanna try and like
Fuck comedians up on the spot.
have you not heard what Melina just said? Like the funny bits are going to be coming up with like a shit joke,
Yeah.
but it's sort of trying to eliminate that fear of dying on your ass as well.
Yeah.
Embrace the
Because
die.
like because my first like 6 gigs, everyone was like, "Oh, you're doing well, you're doing really well." And then when I died on my ass, I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to do this ever again."
Yeah.
And I think it's a way of breaking that down a little bit as well, and it'll be a laugh as well. We're going to do cash prizes for the audience and the teams as well, and we're just going to get drunk and have a laugh. So
That sounds great. Sounds
so,
great. I think that actually like allowing yourself to like the learning to fail. We were talking about this, weren't we? Lean into failure.
Yeah.
Like
Lean into
failure.
Lean into the shit. Yeah.
Lean into the shit. It's like, yeah, it's going shit. I'm just gonna go with it.
It's not failure; it's a learn.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I'm not in school anymore. But yeah, I think we'll because I think we're doing one with Anthony Army at the end of August. And
One
then
bomb.
We've got our second fixture lineup. So
So we're taking you on.
taking it
Yeah,
on.
I'm up for that. We're
Right.
up for that.
Thank you very much,
Can I
Claire
just-
Berry.
Just very quickly, like plug the
Yeah,
acts
go for
that
it.
are on.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got Anna Thomas, who's like the winner of
BBC New Comedy
BBC
Awards,
Comedy. Sean Davis, it's just
Yes, I know
hilarious.
Sean.
We're going to have to
Yeah.
clap because
Just keep clapping. We've got Melina!
Whey!
And the absolutely awesome Ali Panting. And I don't know if you've ever seen
I know
her.
Ali with a clipboard.
Oh, she has me. She cracks me
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was mine.
No, well, she's next level clipboard. You're like little
Dickhead
exam
clipboard.
invigilator keyboard. She's got a whole easel. But yeah,
Oh,
no.
and Joy France.
Joy France, yeah.
Joy France doing a kind of crazy like comedy sort of like you know Joy France does the poetry and
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought he was going to France and you were just saying enjoy France.
Enjoy France,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know you're going
Enjoy
on holiday.
France, Jack. Yeah.
And you were going on holiday next week. But you're not going to France, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Claire Berry.
Thank you.
And we will welcome our next guests. And this is Lloyd and Williams, all the way from North Wales. Woo!
Come on. Oh, yes. Come on. That's lovely.
While you're getting seated, I'm going to say a joke about France because this is sort of the theme of what we're doing.
It's not. France isn't the theme that we're doing.
France is bacon.
France's bacon.
Tell your fucking
Yeah.
joke, hurry up, come on.
France's bacon. I thought France was garlic and snails.
No,
Ooh.
knowledge is power. France is bacon.
Ah. Okay.
Sound, yeah.
No, Francis Bacon said knowledge is power, and some little kid got really confused by it because he knew what knowledge is power
He's not
meant,
the only one.
but he didn't understand why Francis Bacon. So, and that was the joke.
Yeah, it's a great one, that.
So, welcome, Lloyd and Williams.
Thank you very much.
How was the trip up? Over, even?
Well, we had to show our passports at Queen's Ferry as always.
Yeah.
You know, get
I think
currency,
everybody was going to
inoculations.
Wales.
Yeah,
I think everybody was
very
coming along the
popular.
road to
It's
Wales.
it's
so-
all your audience going to the Derby Castle.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
take the wrong
A load of
tickets.
people turning up at a pile of
Hey,
rubble.
let's have a word about
Very
this.
cross. Yeah.
Let's have a.
Go ahead.
I need to have a word.
Yeah.
You've got a castle. You haven't got Denby Castle,
Excuse me,
mate.
it's castle.
You haven't got Denby Castle, mate. Here is one of the last official custodians of the Denby Castle.
Oh, wow.
True.
In Denby,
Nerd
in
alert.
North Wales.
Nerd alert.
So it ain't your castle,
what-
it's mine.
Is this true?
Yeah,
it
there's
is
a
totally
castle 6 miles from where I live, which is actually called Denby Castle.
I have
She's gonna
to.
fuck
I have
you
to
up.
live with this.
The village is called the town is called Denby, and the castle is called Denby
Welcome
Castle.
to my world.
They must live near there or
They
something.
must be from there or
Matt
somewhere.
picked the venue, just to let you know.
Yeah.
So it is.
Yeah,
for us.
it ain't your castle. And
Here we go.
you've got a gig in a pub called the Denby Castle.
That's it.
Oh,
yeah.
here we go.
We've got a gig
In a castle.
inside the medieval tower
They've
of
done
a
it.
castle.
You do, and that was one of the loveliest little gigs I've been to.
is
It's
it?
like 20 people in, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a
And it's
BDSM
in,
dungeon.
we were there the other day in Conway.
In the BDSM
Yeah.
dungeon, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Conway, yeah.
He was there with his wetsuit and his ball bearings and his tub of Swarfeger.
Excuse me, no rudeness.
I remember that's
like
next
the
level
old
king to
days.
me, though.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room or the cat in the room?
The elephant in the room.
From your gig the other...
Oh, the cat.
The cat.
The
The
cat.
Cat.
The cat.
Here we go.
Yes, we have. That was Max.
Good old Max.
Max.
Was it a male?
Yeah.
Okay.
Max identifies as male, but actually he more identifies as a cat.
And a wolf.
And a wolf.
And a wolf.
That's just greedy.
Yeah, I know.
The same person is a cat and a wolf.
And a wolf, yeah.
I
because
thought
his-
there was a wolf as well.
His surname is Okami, which is something to do with wolf.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and he's actually an acquaintance and friend of ours.
Yeah.
And is it taking the piss, the cat thing? Because I can't really accept anyone being a cat.
I could until they tried to get out the door,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then he butted the door thinking it was a push and it was a pull.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of a clawing, and then the hand come up and opened the door, and I was like, "Oh, you've broke character now. You've ruined it for me."
Shall we set the scene for the audience? We're talking about a person about 5'6" with red hair and a tail, big bushy tail, and years. So it's really easy to get the whole cat wolf thing wrong, really.
But basically, basically, what he's saying is
We will fight for your right to be a wolf.
animals are way cooler than people. That's what he's saying. They're
Yeah.
way cooler to know than people because people fuck you up.
Do you know
Basically.
what would be easier to do, though? Just say that to people when you meet them. Like, humans are shit and cats are great, but you don't need to become a cat to prove that point.
Well, Max is Max.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can identify. I
Yeah.
couldn't care what anyone identified as. It's completely up to them. But when he crawled along the front row and then stood up and went, "Can I have some money?"
Yeah.
To
In the middle
Yeah.
of your set.
I was like,
and cats aren't really materialistic things,
No,
are they?
no.
They shouldn't need money.
I think what it was, he was drunk
yeah.
and he kept falling over. And then when he gets drunk, he just lies down wherever he is,
Like
just
a cat.
like a cat.
Yeah. And we were aware of this because he was in that state prior to the gig. So, the preparation had been made. That's
Yeah.
all. Let's say that.
Yeah. So we do, and that audience member is a regular.
Mm-hmm.
Is a regular.
In that place.
In that place will
Yeah.
be a regular. He's been to the first two, and he's always asking when the next one's on. So he'll be there again. No, they'll be there again.
And their friends who are enthusiastically joining in. I think that's the common term in comedy.
Was
isn't
it Tina?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
made the bit-
thought you were on a promise there.
Well, I was like messing with her, and she was like, "I like your t-shirt," and I'm the fuck the Tories one.
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh, stop it! I'll end up on your bedroom floor," like joking.
Is this what you're talking about, Melina?
And then,
It was a member of the audience.
and then later in the car park, she was like, "Where's the t-shirt? Is it gonna end up on the floor afterwards?" after the gig, and I was
It
like,
was predatory older woman.
Yeah,
Oh,
very,
yeah.
Predatory older
Yeah.
woman, yeah.
so yeah, I was. I'm right there with you, Melina, being there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was
hashtag on that one.
So have you got 3 gigs in Wales going on?
Yeah, we have, and we were offered another one, but we're a bit maxed out.
Where
with-
were you offered? But it's
It-
somewhere
it's
mad.
the one that you've taken, so that's really good. In the Marine in Old Colwyn.
Right, so you've got that with
Comedy
Amy.
Port and Amy
Comedy
Eglin.
Port.
But I'm very conscious, like every because I don't see it like as like territorial patches, but I don't want to do a gig if I know someone puts a gig on in that area. I think it's just like common courtesy. So says Amy, make sure you run it past Sid and Nia first, because
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
we just didn't have the capacity because I think the difficulty is when you run quite a few gigs, you get to the point where you're like, when am I going to get gigging?
yeah,
You know,
100%, yeah.
Because we've got the original, which is the Real Comedy Club.
It's an amazing gig, that.
That's superb.
That one's been going
That's
since...
got a stage for you, Melina. Yeah, big stage.
Big stage,
Big
massive
stage.
stage. Yeah, that's been going since 2017.
And you're very welcoming into new acts, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
We-
was our remit.
Yeah, we don't. You know, some venues they ask you to send a clip and stuff.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't have a clip to come along, and have a go. You know, if you fly, you fly. If you die, you die. It's up to the act. You know.
Yeah.
That's. But we haven't actually had a lot of brand new people.
No.
We've not had a lot of brand new people because there's been, since COVID and everything, everything's bumped down a little bit. So the people that were on the circuit and getting paid medals and getting on with the professional stuff have actually been bumped down now. And the sort of full-time professionals we're doing lower level gigs and grabbing everything that was paid. And then it's sort of feeding all the way down not enough gigs, for people.
Yeah. And I think there's so many gigs and people have obviously had a tough 2 years. People are grabbing what they can, I suppose, in a way. But I think it's the next lot, the conveyor belt keeps turning, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the problem at the moment now seems to be, we've got the Real Comedy Club, which is the first Friday of every month. Then we've got Just to Laugh, which is in the Jester Tower in Conway, and that's the
Sunday, isn't it?
fourth
Yeah.
Sunday
Yeah.
of the month. But that's only from February till September because they use that, they close sort of January, sort of February time. And
It's got the smallest staircase in the world leading
Yeah,
down to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
it's about as wide as me. It's quite difficult to get there. And only one toilet, And and that gig is 20-seater and...
It's the only venue that doubles as a fallout shelter.
Yeah. And then we've got the comedy at the Padan, or Padan Comedy Club, as they call it. Padan is the lake in Llanberis and Snowdonia.
Oh, there were lakers there.
Yeah,
weren't there? Is that what
yeah.
you, is that what
But
you
no
call
monster.
people that swim in lakes?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, but and that's also sort of in the summer season, so it's only until October, that, isn't it?
September, October, yeah.
September, October.
Yeah.
So for that one, we've got a budget. For the Just to Laughs, it comes out of ticket sales. And Real Comedy Club is ticket sales. We've purposely kept the price at a £5 for the Real Comedy Club. We used to have it in the small room, the rehearsal room, and now it's in the theatre. And we've got people that come back and
Yeah, we've got lots of regulars. And we've got people coming from like Ellesmere Port and Runcorn and lots of places. We have acts that have come all the way from Brighton and Edinburgh. Someone rang us up and said, "Oh, I want a spot. Where are you?" I'm in Edinburgh. Really? And he got his phone, he pointed it in the opposite direction. And you could hear bagpipes. He goes, "I said, fine. All right. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you're right."
when I was on, I think it was Vicky Delirious come from Southampton.
Yeah.
She drove up like 6 hours that day.
yeah,
Just,
yeah.
and I just loved that.
You've done Stockton, haven't you? Which was a hell of
Wow.
And then Donna Landy, did she come from Devon somewhere?
People
to come
really
out?
travel to our gigs. It's amazing.
How long have you been doing the gigs for?
5 years for that one.
Yeah.
Well,
5 years.
what is it? It's 5 years with
Without
2
COVID.
bits in the middle.
5 years for real.
Yeah.
For Real Comedy Club.
And
yeah.
who would you say is the most famous person you've had on?
Tony Slattery.
Oh, right, Tony Slattery. So he's Whose Line's It Anyway, isn't he?
Yeah. He's our patron.
He's our patron, and he's not very well at the moment, but he's the most well known, really. isn't
Growing
he?
up, he was just on telly constantly,
Oh, yeah,
wasn't he? He was
yeah.
like, he's like
He's the governor.
manic. Like, I remember, on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Well, I've speaking of Whose Line Is It Anyway, I've got a little challenge for you. And it's a little improv challenge, but it's something you'll find very easy to do because there's something you do on video that I absolutely love. And I want you to try and recreate it in that camera now, where you're both in the front seat of your car and you're in England and then you cross the border. And I want you to now pretend that is taking place over the next 60 seconds. So over to you. Entertain.
So we're going that direction.
Where's the
Imagine
tunnel?
that the road is flashing past, and we're on the way to Queen's Ferry, and there's this sealant, RAF sealant in the distance, and we're driving along in a little Seat Ibiza, and Nia's driving, and I'm sitting there, and we're going hold, hold, hold,
Wait for it.
wait for it, hold, hold, back in Mackies?
So your gigs are dead normal, and
We've got cats. We've got
Jesters Towers,
Towers.
Yeah.
and you've got used to as well.
Yeah, Town Criers.
Town Crier,
I
yeah.
do
Yeah.
town crying. I've got
Of course you do.
I've got a gig in Little Sutton.
Yes.
I've got a gig in Little Sutton in Cheshire somewhere on the 27th of August. I'll be doing town crying.
I saw your video. It's absolutely brilliant.
So I'll be doing town crying, first proper gig. And we do pop-up gigs as well. And we've got you on in
We have
a little country village called Sansana.
Oh,
Yeah,
Clan Salmon,
Red Lion.
Yeah, the Red Lion in Sansana.
10th of
No, the 6th of
Is
August.
this pet friendly as well? This one, or
I was sold at Hog Roast on that.
Hog
Roast on
roast.
that one, and then we
gonna be
also
wild.
got a fundraising gig in
September.
September for.
I think I'm emceeing that,
yeah.
aren't I?
yeah.
Or are we? No, you're emceeing
You're
the
emceeing.
Yeah.
Sansana gig.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'd like to plug as well is beginning of October. So the October gig of the Real Comedy Club is because World Mental Health Day is usually on the 9th of October, and it's the nearest Friday we could get to that date. We've got a Samaritans fundraiser.
cool.
So
fab.
everybody's giving their time for free, and we're raising money for the Samaritans for World Mental Health Day. So that's going to be a good one, hopefully.
Yeah, great cause, the Samaritans, aren't they?
Yeah.
And just on a personal note, like from me and Jack, I know you've given us loads of gigs, and there's lots of people on the circuit that just want to say thank you to you too, because you're brilliant, and coming over to Wales, it's a massive, exciting thing. So,
Thank you.
thank you to our final guest, Lloyd and Williams, everybody. And that's a wrap.